resolution on the protection of civilians in Sudan with a veto from the Russian Federation. The result of the vote is 14 in favor, 1 against, 0 abstention. The draft resolution was put forward by the United Kingdom, who is presiding the presidency of the Council this month, and Sierra Leone. Mamadi Baro tells us more of that in this report.
The Security Council meeting once again amid the 19-month brutal war raging in Sudan that has led to the world's largest displacement crisis, rejected a draft resolution intended to bolster measures to protect civilians and increase humanitarian aid access. The draft, submitted by Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom, garnered support from 14 members but was vetoed by the Russian Federation. The 15-member council will have condemned the continued assault by the Rapid Support Forces in El Fasher and demanded that it immediately halt all its attacks against civilians in Darfur, Al Jazeera State and Sennar State and elsewhere in Sudan. Speaking in his national capacity, David Lammy, UK's Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, criticized Russia's veto, calling it a disgrace, adding that it shows to the world yet again Russia's true colors.
One country stood in the way of the Council speaking with one voice. One country is the blocker. One country is the enemy of peace. This Russian veto is a disgrace, and it shows to the world yet again Russia's true colors. Shame on Putin for waging a war of aggression in Ukraine. Shame on Putin for using his mercenaries to spread conflict and violence across the African continent. And shame on Putin for pretending to be a partner of the global South while condemning black Africans to further killing, further rape, further starvation in a brutal war. I asked the Russian representative, in all conscience, sitting there on his phone, how many more Sudanese have to be killed? How many more women have to be raped? How many more children have to go without food before Russia will act?
Russian Ambassador Dmitry A. Polyansky, while responding to the British diplomat, reminding him of his excellent demonstration of British neocolonialism. He also explained Russia's position that it agrees with all Security Council members that the conflict in Sudan requires a swift resolution, and it is also clear that the only way to achieve this is for the warring parties to agree to a ceasefire.
Прежде всего, хотел бы поблагодарить вас за...
I would like to thank you for your excellent demonstration of British neocolonialism. That really is what we have no doubt your statement today. Everybody who heard your complex, pathos rhythm speech really proves why your country is losing influence and power. We have no doubt that it should solely be the government of Sudan who should play that role. However, the UK authors are clearly trying to refuse Sudan that right during all the work on the draft. They expended a lot of effort to delete from the text any mention of the legitimate authorities of Sudan in the key points.
Уверены в том, что отправление правосудия должно оставаться исключительным.
For his part, Sudanese Ambassador Al-Harith Idris mentioned that the Charter of the United Nations provides the unity of states, their sovereignty, territorial integrity, and stopping any aggression against states. He observes that this has not really happened in the case of the war of aggression against Sudan.
Pressures have been exercised and coalitions in a coordinated way to weaken the state because of choices by international actors in the international order, which is collapsing spectacularly. It needs to be re-established according to the Secretary General's new agenda for peace.
Meanwhile, if the resolution was endorsed, the Council would have demanded that the Sudanese Armed Forces and Rapid Support Forces honor and fully implement their commitments made in the Jeddah Declaration of Commitment to protect the civilians of Sudan, including to take all feasible precautions to avoid and minimize civilian harm, refrain from using civilians as human shields, and safeguard the needs and necessities indispensable to their survival. Additionally, the Council will have called on the parties to the conflict to immediately cease hostilities and engage in good faith in dialogue to agree steps to de-escalate the conflict towards urgent agreement on a national ceasefire, as well as humanitarian pauses and arrangements to ensure the safe passage of civilians and the delivery of adequate humanitarian aid. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mamadi.